everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, August 24th, 2025. Phyllis called Audra's company Vibrator instead of Vibranti. That is both hilarious and cold and hilarious. Wow. I can say with relative confidence that this is the first time I have ever heard the word vibrator on The Young and the Restless. We are entering into a new era, my friends. A train on every continent and a vibrator. Could Phyllis possibly have a vibrator on every continent? I don't know. I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm also pretty sure that Audra had the last laugh on that one when she said, "The pot shouldn't piss off the kettle." There is some modern wisdom for you. I mean, we are really retiring all of the tired old cliche sayings. We're hanging them out to dry and twisting them into something fresh and new. The pot shouldn't piss off the kettle. Yes. That scene was fun. Pure fun. I also thought that the previews for next week looked pretty fun too. Claire's beautiful face looking into Kyle's beautiful face and her saying, "Kyle, are you sure there isn't anything that you haven't told me about your time in Nice with Audra?" That moment is like basically the whole reason that I love soaps, right, in a nutshell. Soaps are secrets kept, secrets revealed. And I'm just looking at Claire and that one line and I'm thinking, no, Claire, I'm sure there's nothing Kyle is keeping from you. Nothing but a towel between them. Oh my. Yeah, I think Kyle needs to just, at this point, take a page from the book of Audra and just do like a preemptive breakup with Claire right now so that he doesn't have to be the one to get dumped. Who would have seen that coming? This week, Audra's scheme blows up in her face, and Nate didn't break up with her. She broke up with him. She said, "How dare you not believe my lie?" Well, Claire certainly loaded up the drama cannon and fired it directly at Audra. Claire was right in the middle of her impromptu double date with Holden, Tessa, and Daniel, and she said, "Hold on, I'm about to make a scene." Yes. I'll back up. Daniel and Holden crossed paths for the first time this week, and they sat there talking to each other about Kane, because what else would anyone be talking about? So they're chatting, getting to know each other, becoming bros, and then the babes show up. What do you know? Tessa and Claire. And Holden ordered up a couple, like a round of Vespers for everyone, which has become his signature drink. He drinks nothing else. And he started telling his charming tale of how he almost got cast on one of those reality TV dating shows. I'm assuming it's something like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. I've never seen one of those shows, but I would like to take a brief excursion just to talk about Holden for a minute. I just want to rest on Holden for a brief minute because did you guys notice that he was in the credits this week? I don't know if that happened previously and I'm just noticing, or if this was the first week that he was in the credits. All I know is that I looked at my screen, and when his face came up, I was momentarily blinded by his beaming beauty. I mean, he is literally sparkling in that opening credits shot. His teeth are white, his smile is bright, his eyes are twinkling. I'm like, how did this guy get so gorgeous? It feels like a trap. I feel like he's about to ask me for money or something, and I'm about to give it to him. Okay, so back to the rest of the drama. So anyway, right when the double date was starting to get fun, I mean, there was no cane talk, no death talk. I'm imagining Holden with his shirt off. Who should walk through the door but Nate and Audra? And the whole vibe just shifted. I mean, it was poignant and intimate and funny up until that point, and then everything shifted. Claire kind of pretended to be polite at first, but then she had a moment of realizing that, no, Audra ordered this, and I am going to serve it to her. She may have come here for dinner, but justice is on the menu. And she walked right up to Nate, and she said, I think you deserve to know what kind of woman Audra really is. Audra was still at the dinner table. She heard that, rushed right over to do damage control, but it was completely too late. Claire laid it all out very plainly, very non-emotionally too, just like, here's the evidence. Audra tried to break up me and Kyle by seducing Kyle so that Victor would bankroll Vibrator. I mean Vibrante. It's so easy to get those two confused. And just like that, boom, Audra was busted. She tried saying the same thing that she's been saying, which is, it's a lie. Kyle made the whole thing up. Kyle wants me. Kyle came on to me. I rejected him, and now he just is making all this up because he wants revenge. But it was way too little too late. Nate already knew that something was up and that it all adds up. But Audra just would not confess. She was like a captain ready to go down with her ship. It was kind of admirable in a weird way because all good sense was jumping off the sides of the boats into the life rafts. But Audra was just hanging onto the wheel for dear life, steering right into the iceberg. Oh. I felt so bad for Nate. I mean, he was so, you could just feel it. He was really giving a very physical performance. Not that I was tuned in extra to his physicality. It's just that his performance was very odd. Like, you could tell he was so torn up on the inside that he was just emoting in a very physical way. I mean, Claire waited until after Damien's funeral to tell Nate, technically, but it was like right after the funeral. It could not have been very long. I'm getting the sense that it was funeral in the morning, and then by dinner time, on his evening out to have dinner right after the funeral, his day just found a way to get worse, thanks to Claire. Way worse. And then it took another day for Audra and Nate to fully break up. But so the next day at the coffee house, after they did break up, like literally the moment after Audra walked out on him, Kane walked in. Audra walked out, Kane walked in, and Kane tried offering his condolences, but that don't mean a whole lot to a guy who just lost his brother and his girlfriend in the same week. And somehow, on the very same week that Audra gets exposed, Victor comes out smelling like the roses on Nikki's blouse. Hold on a minute. Victor and Audra collaborated, had a joint collaboration on this breakup Kyle and Claire plan. Audra loses her company and her boyfriend, but Victor gets a tearful hug and forgiveness from Claire and praise from the family all around. How does that work? I was really proud of Claire, and have been for the past couple of weeks, for really standing her ground with Victor. And I think that if Claire had not drawn that hard line, Victor would not have backed down. He would not have come to her with a change of heart. He would not have offered his blessings for their relationship. He would not have called Kyle out to the ranch to say, okay, fine, you can date my granddaughter, but I've got my eye on you. I think the cycle would have just continued. Claire drew a hard line, and it worked. And I cannot believe that Victor finally backed off, and now Kyle's going to blow it. He's been warned. Jack and Diane sat there with him and said, oh, no, you should be completely honest with Claire. If she finds out there's anything else, she's going to break up. She's not going to be happy. No, I've got it under control, he says. Not going to tell Claire, no way. Flash to the preview. Is there anything you're not telling me? I love it. But honestly, I loved the moment with Victor even more. I mean, that was definitely the most powerful moment of the week, bar none. All completely carried by the strength of Eric Braden's performance. It's not the righteousness of Victor Newman. It doesn't have nearly as much to do with Victor Newman as it does with Eric Braden. He's just so freaking compelling. I mean, just so many of the things he said were, I mean, just jarring to me. Just like, oh, wow, I mean, I'm sure everyone was feeling that scene. Specifically, I liked it when he was comparing Claire's upbringing with his own, saying, well, we have something in common. We both know what it's like to grow up without love. And that's just one of those things, I think, that never leaves you. If you are born with that feeling of not being loved, I think it doesn't matter how much you put into the bucket, there's always going to be a hole in it. And I think that describes Victor very well. He said to her, look, I know that I can be tough and unforgiving, and the truth is, it's all really about protecting me. It's all really about protecting myself. Wow, what an incredible insight that he would act the way he does as a form of self-protection, as a form of protecting himself against rejection, against getting hurt, against feeling vulnerable or feeling small and feeling helpless. All those things that he has worked quite hard to get past, to make never feel again. And Claire's response was so simple. She didn't drag him through the mud. She just simply reestablished that, there is such a thing as going too far, Grandpa. I thought that was sort of a sweet moment. It was sort of sweet, sort of funny, and definitely touching. And in the end, Victor said to her, please forgive me. Not I'm sorry, mind you. But please forgive me. Kane's negotiation with Lily went down in flames. She doesn't trust him, doesn't want him, and now the kids hate him. Just leave us alone, Billionaire Dad! How dare you choose to make all of that money instead of taking us to the zoo? Come on! Maddie and Charlie are adults. They have their own lives. They have their own secrets. Okay. Kane lied to them. He has been telling them for the past 6 years that he's been working a job that rehabilitates ex-cons, but he was really off amassing his great capitalistic empire. Well, okay, that is dishonest, but I still can't help but think that if I found out that my dad had a secret identity and had found a way to make $1 billion in 6 years, that I would be impressed. Honestly, that's impressive. Esther was impressed. And she even gave a shout out to Colin this week. Even though he messed with Mrs. C's will, she gave him a shout out. So if Esther is willing to forgive and forget, what else do we need to know? Rest in peace, Tristan Rogers. Really a fantastic actor. Tristan Rogers brought a lot of life to the character of Colin. I enjoyed the heck out of that character from A to Z. I feel like he brought a lot of life overall to Y&R, which is the only way that I know him. I'm not familiar with his role on General Hospital. I only know him from Y&R, but boy, I thought he was a really great addition to the show. I'm sorry to hear that he's passed away, and he certainly will be missed. What is going on between Kane and Phyllis? I cannot tell if there is some kind of subtle attraction there or not. Phyllis is trying so hard to cheerleader him. She's trying so hard to make it seem like they're so much alike. Like she's the only one who understands him. Like she's the one who can help him. He's the one who can help her. And there was this brief moment between them, that awkward pat on the back that she gave him. And I thought, okay, well, maybe we're making some progress here or something. But then Kane has to find a way to remind her that they are not partners, that she is not the queen to his king. How dare he? Phyllis is the queen to everyone's king, and I cannot believe that she would accept anything less. Why is she trying so hard to work with him, trying so hard to connect with him, when he treats her like a peasant? She came back the next day, and do you know what he called her? He said she was like a terrier. I mean, I get that he was trying to say that she was tenacious. I get that it was meant to be a compliment, but no woman ever wants to be compared to a dog. I am just over it. I don't understand it. Kane has asked Phyllis to start boning up on artificial intelligence. Ooh, boy, we are getting cutting edge. He wants her to learn everything she can learn about AI so that she can use it when it comes time to hackety hack. Well, I think that Phyllis needs to learn how to use a Chatterbox chat bot and ask AI to help her define some new career goals. Jack and Diane are bringing the romance to Y&R. Oh, I love it. This week, Diane set up a mock Italian date night at the Abbott Mansion, and it was just so nice to feel that romance. There were a few Italian-themed decorations, cocktails, desserts, Italian sentiments, some ribbons, but it was mostly the chemistry between them that really drew me in and made me feel romantic. I felt romantic watching them be romantic. I do really feel like Jack and Diane bring out the best in each other, and I don't know, I guess some classic soap opera romance is exactly what I need right now after all of the deaths. It was a small celebration, but it was very effective. And it got me thinking, you know what? We don't have a ton of romance on the show right now. I kind of feel like some of the couples have gotten a little stale. So I was inspired this week to mix up the couples a little bit in my own mind. I took it upon myself to go find a copy of the current Y&R cast list, and I said, okay, I'm just gonna pair everyone up right where I want them. Billy and Sally, guess what? You're done. Sally, you're with Daniel now. And Tessa, I'm sorry, but don't worry, you're getting a brand new love triangle with Mariah and Chelsea. Because yeah, that's right, I want to give Connor a brand new complex. Heh. But also, I just really want Adam and Audra together. I don't understand why that's not happened yet, because they would be so hot. And I don't want Nate to go back with Victoria. I want Nate to fall in love with Abby so that she can come back, and then Nate and Devon can blow it up. They're great as friends, but, you know, they need some drama. They need to be at odds over something. And as for Kane, I don't want Kane with Lily. I think we should give Lily to Holden, because maybe he can try to pry the needle out of her butt. Maybe. Instead, I think Kane should go with Victoria purely because that would piss Victor off. And now that Victor has accepted Kyle and Claire, he needs to be pissed about something. Okay, so those are my picks, and now it's your turn. The current main cast list for Y&R is posted at yrchat.com, so I would just love to see what you guys would do, how you guys would mix it up. So go to yrchat.com, look at the cast list, mix them up, get creative, pair them, keep them together, bust them up, whatever. Leave your ideal couples in the comments, and I'll read a few aloud next week. The past is prologue. Have you ever heard that before, that quote? The past is prologue. Well, yes, you have heard it because someone said it this week on Y&R. Who do you think it was? yrchat.com if you want to find out. The past is prologue. I just think that's so good and so true and so perfect for soapy drama. Love that line. Let's get down to some comments. Lisa says, it's been a while since Y&R was so good that I couldn't wait till the next day, but finally, here we are. Claire's delivery to blast Audra was chef's kiss. Mwah, mwah. A soft Victor was refreshing. Still suspicious though, since there's an Abbott involved, but maybe, just maybe, he was sincere. The back and forth scenes about the Audra Kyle situation that included just about every person on the show was perfectly done. Yes, Lisa, I'm so glad you mentioned that. I think that was the opening of Thursday's show, where we saw, we had just had the big blow up of Claire busting Audra, and then the very next day we're seeing Claire with Victoria talking about it, Nate with Devon talking about it, and who else? There was someone else that it's skipping my mind right now. I think maybe Kyle and Diane, but it was just like everybody was commenting on what had happened, and it was interspliced in such a great way. I loved the moment where, like, I think Nate said, yeah, Claire came in and she was very nice at first. And then they cut to Audra going, Claire was such a bitch from the minute she walked in. or we walked in. That was funny. That was a really, really nicely done little bit of editing, a nice little sequence there. So yes, this was a good week of Y&R for sure. Hey, last week I asked you guys, Audra versus Claire, who are you rooting for? And oh boy, 62% of you picked Claire. You were ready to see Audra get it. Astra says, I voted for Claire. It's hard to root for Audra. She has a good thing with Nate and willing to sacrifice for a job and revenge. Plus, I think she will underestimate Claire. Claire can be dangerous if pushed, so Audra better watch her back. Yeah. I mean, it's entirely possible that that was just phase one. Who knows what's going to come between these two? Marianne V voted for Claire, saying Audra shouldn't be doing this to Nate. It looks like Claire tells Nate what Audra's been doing this week, and that's good. But Claire might revert to being bad because of this. She isn't taking any more crap from Victor or Audra. More power to her. She won't be a pushover. Yeah, I really like this new Claire. Honestly, I prefer this version of Claire. We had this sort of one-dimensional baddie, then she flipped over to the other side of being the one-dimensional goodie, and now I feel like we're actually able to get into that gray area with her, which is right where I like my soap opera characters to be. Tony voted for Audra, saying she is just interesting to watch. I am waiting for Claire to boil. There is a deviousness buried there. She can make up with Victor by asking him some advice to plot against Audra. Ooh, Tony, I like that. The idea that maybe Claire might want to work with Victor to get back at Audra. Diana says, I thought I'd weigh in on this as I voted for Audra. I was going to vote for Claire, but I changed my mind at the last minute after giving it some thought. I feel like it would be more interesting if Audra continues to antagonize Claire and Kyle and maybe even end up reeling Kyle in. If Claire busts Audra now, it will be all over and it won't be exciting anymore. I want to see more of Audra manipulating Kyle and getting under Claire's skin and gradually pulling them apart. The more drama, the more compelling. I'm also enjoying seeing Claire so agitated by Audra. Let's keep it going for a while longer. I feel like Claire and Kyle are over. I don't know. It feels like the writing is on the wall for them. I wonder if Claire and Kyle, I wonder if Claire is just going to dump him after finding out that he did keep the secret from her about what went on in Nice. And then who knows, maybe Kyle and Audra will end up together. I don't know. Connie says, really, Claire? She had every right to out Audra to Nate, but to do so on the day of his brother's funeral is a low blow. She hurt Nate way more than she hurt Audra, and it was heartless and cruel way to treat him in order to get revenge on Audra. Yeah, I mean, we definitely love that drama, but if it was reality, that would have been pretty, like you said, a low blow. But we do love that here. Steven says, Lily and Audra need to form the Patsies of Victor Club. Membership is limited to foolish women who agree to use their feminine wiles to push Victor's various and sundry agenda. Meetings are Tuesday evenings from 7:30 p.m. at Society Basement. Incidentally, why in tarnation can't Audra just take Nate's hint and come clean? Penance by publishing a clickbait tell-all in the inaugural issue of Abbott Communications' online tabloid demonstrating contrition while comforting Claire's doubts. You know what, Stephen, that's funny about the Patsies of Victor Club sitting in the society basement. But also, yeah, Audra sort of low-key got a new job out of all of this. Sally offered her the job. Audra said no, and then the next thing I know, they're working together. So she announced that she said yes, and all right, Audra's on board at Abbott Communications. Will Audra decide to retaliate against Claire and the Newmans by starting a smear campaign via Abbott Communications? Well, Dolores says, so refreshing. Adam and Chelsea are finally in sync. Chelsea is no longer finding the need to protect Billy from all the evil Newmans and sees herself as a Newman woman. Quotes. Well, she and Adam are a part of the family as long as they toe the line, according to Victor. And I wonder how long that will last. Yeah, Adam and Chelsea, it's just almost like there's nobody else Chelsea really vibes with other than Adam. But I want Adam and Audra to work together, to hook up so bad. But anyway, I'm digressing. Because, yes, it is refreshing that Chelsea has now dropped the let me protect Billy at all costs thing. It's just nice that that part's done. Yeah, Billy doesn't need protecting, I don't think. I think he's going to make his own bed and he's going to lie in it, as he always does. Well, Sharon W. says, thanks, writers, for this change in direction for Victor and Claire. The first thing Victor tells Claire is that he's always tried to protect her in his way. He tells her they both have one thing in common because they grew up without parents and had to grow up on their own. He says both of them know what it's like to grow up without love. After a loving hug, Victor asks her to forgive him. This was literally a tearjerker for me, and a scene played so beautifully between a younger and more seasoned actor. I was lost in their scene together. It felt like real life. And as a chatter who will never give up on Victor, I can look past his tough love and always see his love for his family shining through. Yes, I knew that was going to be a really popular scene. I think it was definitely a tearjerker, as you say. Russell says, ask Aunt Jordan to check the temperature in hell because I suspect it just froze over. Victor giving up on controlling Claire's love life and even vowing to support it. He has never done that before. The talk between him and Claire was so sweet and finally reasonable. Victor admitting he goes too far and wanting to be in Claire's life to guide her as a father would. So very, very sweet. Come to the ranch immediately. Victor, I don't have time. Click. Victor's meeting with Kyle. Jack's suspicions of another dropping shoe. It does leave one with questionable taste in one's mouth. So don't worry, Aunt Jordan, the heat might be returning. Yeah, so yeah, Jack was definitely suspicious of it. I think it's just that Kyle's gonna end up doing himself in. I really do. I think it's all gonna be resolved. It's gonna be like, yay, we can be together. And then it's Kyle's decision to not tell Claire the whole truth about what happened in Nice that finally does them in. I don't think Victor has anything else that he's necessarily planning yet. Not against them, but against the Abbotts, yes. Against Jack, yes. But against Kyle and Claire, I don't know. He might have been genuine on that. Well, Gary says, maybe all the fanfare over Damien was just a ruse by Y&R to introduce their new star, the slick Holden Novak. Disappointing that Daniel, a recipient of so much chat love last week, has taken a right turn into his clutches. But maybe Tessa can save him from his new BFF. Admittedly, the idea of resurrecting a new glam club is irresistible. Who remembers that weird set with all the crap hanging down from above before Rory shut it down? Oh, but Gary also says, here's a newsflash, European Glam Club has them waiting in lines around the block. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, it did sound like Holden is basically going to be starting a new club in Genoa City. Do we need that? I mean, I don't know. Everything is all restaurants. Y&R is investing in sets. I cannot complain, but I also cannot see a need for another club. I totally forgot about the glam club, though. Wow. I wonder how I'm guessing based on the tone of your comment here, Gary, that you don't like Holden. Kind of wondering how the rest of the chatters feel about him. So let's do a Holden approval rating poll this week. So go to yrchat.com this week. Tell me whether or not you approve of Holden. I think you're right, Gary, that they've done in with Damien. Damien's been done in, and I think now Holden is the new it boy. Clearly. Daisy says, when Holden went to Kane's room and talked to Lily, he seemed overly shocked that Damien was dead, like he was pretending to be upset. I still wonder if Kane had Damien killed. When Kane was in Genoa City, maybe he plotted with Holden to kill the adversaries he discovered in Nice. In that moment, it was Damien. Holden also killed Chance, who saw him kill Damien, then Carter to tie up the loose ends. Kane might think he's gotten away with it all, but maybe Lily will be the one to put 2 and 2 together. To protect her children, Lily may start her own investigation and figure out what Kane's really doing, and then stop him before he does any more damage, particularly to her kids. That would be great if Kane straight up murdered Damien. Well, straight up was the one who had Damien killed, and then he killed Carter to cover it up. It's sad that Chance got caught in the crosshairs, but Chance got caught in the crosshairs either way. Gary says, don't expect anyone to agree with me, but because Kane is so stoic and non-revealing, he's boring. Am I the only one who wants to get off the Kane train? No, Sue W. says, I'd ride the Kane train. Sue W. wants to ride the Kane train. I bet you do. Tony says it's like his RV. It is. It's like it's Kane's RV. It's his fancy RV. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think you're making a really good character point here, Gary, that he is very stoic and non-revealing. It does feel like he doesn't want to give you anything. The only thing he's really given emotionally is he's in love with Lily, okay, and he feels bad about his kids. That's where the whole emotional crux of, any saving grace for Kane's character is wrapped up in his love for Lily and his kids. But I can't see the kids, so it's hard for me to connect with that. And Lily is just so cold, and it's just like, I don't know, give up. If she's not into it, give up. Yeah, I don't know. He's so one-dimensionally he was one-dimensionally focused on taking over all the companies. And now this week, it seems like that's an effort being made to soften him up or to give him a little bit more of an emotional stuffing. But it's just not there for me yet. Dolores says, Y&R, hear my plea. Develop this storyline fully. Stop the one-trick pony of the ruthless businessman coming to Genoa City with the desire to aim or conquer the empires of the Newmans and Abbotts or possibly the Chancellors, then poof, going nowhere quick, fast, and incomplete. First, Ashlyn Locke was to be feared. Then, Tucker McCall could not be trusted and or watched for his aim to conquer all in Genoa City. And now the new, wealthy, treacherous Kane Aspie with the goal of having it all, establishing his empire in Genoa City. Please make it worth watching or caring to stay tuned. Guarantee that it is a satisfying match between Victor, Jack, and Kane, not ho-hum and predictable. Yeah, I think you're right to a point there, Dolores, and I'm kind of feeling that too. I just need something more than mwahaha. But I guess we got to give it time. I guess we just got to give it time. Maybe they're getting there. Maybe it's a work in progress. Gary says, a report is in that Abby is a mess over what happened to Chance. From Devon. Yeah, that's another thing. It is like, it took me years to warm up to this Abby, and now I really like her, and I really feel her absence on the show, and I would really like to have her back. How can she be on recurring if Devon is still on the show. I actually included her in my main cast list at yrchat.com because I feel like she's married to Devon. She's got to be there. She's got to be eligible. So I put her there for my own reasons. But yeah, I think she, all of that is more off-screen drama. It's just like, okay, why couldn't we have brought Abby in for any of this? I can understand, all right, we're not going to get Nina, fine, whatever, but why not Abby? Why not? She's right there. She was on the train. She seems very accessible, so I don't know. It's a good question. Let's go on to a famous segment here. Gary's phone says. Gary's phone says. It says, Daniel Goddard is on my phone, talking about the glorious reunion he had with Lily and his Y&R family at the real Devon's birthday party. How ironic, if that's the word. Yeah, it seems like Daniel Goddard is still close with so many people on the Y&R cast. But again, I have to say, I don't feel bitter about the fact that Kane's being played by not Daniel Goddard. I totally accept a recast. That's fine. I mean, I'll be mad about it for a week or two, but then I'm totally, go with the flow. Because in some ways it's like I almost feel like new Kane feels like a new character. I'm calling him Kane. Everybody's calling him Kane, but he really feels like a totally new character. I'm completely capable of letting go of the fact that Daniel Goddard is not playing him, though. I think the character himself really needs some work still. But speaking of Daniel Goddard, Daisy also sent me a post that Daniel Goddard made, I guess, on his Instagram about Tristan Rogers. So, because it was Daniel Goddard playing Kane with his father, Colin, played by Tristan Rogers, who just passed away. And so that's very sad. Very, very sad. Gary's phone also says that Nathan Hastings is giving praise to Valerie Pettiford, who couldn't be a better mother to my half-brother, for her Emmy nomination. Thank you for bringing power and elegance and intelligence to the screen as Amy. But where is she? That's the question. Where is she? Because it kind of seems to me like they are just shuffling Damien and Amy right off the side. I mean, Damien's definitely gone. It don't get more gone than that. But where's Amy? Did they just decide to get rid of her too when she was so excellent? Were other people not feeling the excellence? Because I see you saying she got an Emmy nomination for it. Well, we have a new segment that's sort of similar to Gary's phone says. It's called Shelley's father-in-law says. Shelley says, I'm going to share some comments from my 75-year-old father-in-law who's staying with us this week. While I catch up on some episodes of Y&R, these made me giggle. Number one, Shelley's father-in-law says, referring to Jack and Diane having their tender moment, quote, married people don't actually talk like that. Ew, I'm too old for this. I'm going to throw up. I can imagine it is very, if you're not used to watching romance, I can imagine it's like, what is this? And, And that's funny saying married people don't actually talk like that, because I was literally thinking, oh, it's so nice to feel like you can be, that you can be older and married and still feel that amount of passion and try to have that spark and try to keep that alive. But apparently married people don't talk like that. Who knew? Here's number two comment from Shelley's father-in-law, quote, uh-oh, she's a troublemaker. She's up to no good. She's trouble, right? Referring to Claire talking to Nikki about her frustrations with Audra. I just love that was unfolding. That is so sort of precious in a way, just to take someone who's doesn't know the story and then to just plop them in and you just get that, she's about to cause trouble. That's classic and beautiful. Number three, about Kane and Phyllis taking in the train car. Shelley's father-in-law says, uh-oh, those two are gonna be hooking up. Shelley says he's probably not wrong. And yeah, it's like you don't really have to watch the show to in an instant be able to pick up on the fact that that's probably where the story is going. This is like incredibly valuable. Number 4, and I think this might be the best one. How the heck does that guy get his head so shiny? He must wax it. Look at how shiny that is. Wow. This was referring to Holden, which now all I see when I see him is how shiny his head actually is. I thought for sure you were going to say Devon, because Devon's head is pretty shiny too. He wax it. Does he wax it? That's hilarious. And then Shelley says, we also had a full-on discussion about the Vesper drink and the twisted lemon garnish it has in it. He then stated how the prop guy must be lazy this week since that's all anyone is drinking. And we're not even halfway through the week yet, so it should be a fun end of the week. Thank you, Shelley, for sharing that. That is so awesome and so fun, and I really enjoyed that. I think that's definitely, that made my week. Oh boy. Well, moving on, it was nice to see Esther, I have to say. Connie says, you gotta love Esther. She was excellent in her bless your heart approach of greeting Kane, confronting the rumors of his return, and getting in her dig about his business secrecy while congratulating him on his new fortune, bragging about Chloe living the good life without him, offering sympathy over his father's death while making the tie between Mrs. C's will and Colin's betrayal being resolved in the end. And then she took his order. She delivered condemnation without spiteful judgment, offering forgiveness in her heart, and she did it all in one succinct conversation. As my grandmother used to say, it is best to get even by killing people with kindness, and Esther just showed everyone how it's done. Yes, I did love the line about, well, my daughter's doing just fine with her unwealthy husband. Gary says, I would like to see Esther poison Kane with a double espresso. You want to see Esther poison Kane's double espresso? Oh my. Russell says, I have to admit I felt for Kane when the invisible kids asked him to stop contacting them. Yes, right? That's the whole thing about it. It's invisible. It's hard for me to connect with that. But the actor's very good. It's clear that Billy Flynn is very good. I also, just on the positive end, I liked his little moment with Phyllis where he was checking his to-do list to see if crushing her dreams was on it. He was funny. He had a nice, subtle delivery. You can tell that the actor, there's almost like a sarcasm there. There's a darkness, but I bet the actor is really funny. He comes off as someone who is, he's playing a serious role, but I bet if he could be given something a little looser, I bet we could really fall in love with him. Victoria says, the chatters have spoken. Soraz Sam. His introduction as an aged-up Adam 2.0 would add the right amount of drama. Sam would have built up a luxury yacht full of resentment for his father, since it appears Kane was not in his life. Sam would have idolized his mother and vilified Maddie and Charlie, and once he meets Lily and learns how she didn't tolerate him as an innocent baby, all bets would be off. We would not only want Sam on our screen, we would need Sam on our screen. And Diana says, yeah, too bad he doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, Diana has been saying that for weeks. Yeah, that, where is Sam? Sam would be the missing piece of the puzzle here. Because, yeah, if I'm supposed to feel bad about Kane abandoning his kids, then it would be better and more effective for me to feel it for Sam. I mean, it is very hard for me to get past the fact that Maddie and Charlie are adults. Lily keeps calling them the twins, and Devon was calling them the twins, as if they're two little toddlers bouncing around in the yard side by side. No, they're two fully formed, independent adults with their own lives and their own secrets. Having Sam would be good, though, because maybe we could also do Sam, Connor, and Christian and start developing that next generation. At least having a sense of them would be nice. Oh boy, Russell says, Victoria makes the biggest pancakes I have ever seen. No silver dollar cakes in that tack house. Russell, I could not believe the freaking size of those pancakes. They were pancakes as big as a plate. Who the heck eats that much pancake for breakfast? Not Claire. I mean, she might have eaten... You needed a pizza cutter to cut that thing. She should have got a pizza wheel out and sliced herself off 1/8 of that pancake. I would have been in a coma after eating that pancake. And pancakes are so samey too. It's like, it starts off real good, and then by the time you get to the end of the pancake, it's just like, I've had this much of the same. It's too much, too much. Sharon W. says, I was surprised when Victoria and Clara sat down to breakfast with real pancakes that looked especially delicious. They did look delicious. They did. They did. They did look delicious. They were just large. Sharon W. says, I'm sure the kitchen table has been there forever, but as a not very observant person, I never noticed it. I don't think there was a table there. I think you're right. I don't remember there being a table right there. That's a small set that I feel like maybe got bigger. I feel like that set got bigger or something. It definitely got reworked. Connie says, first I noticed a while back Cole's photo on the mantle with a full fireplace. Then Allie noticed the refrigerator. Today a full-size table with a sideboard cabinet. Yeah. I think you're right. I don't think the mantle was there before either. So that set got a redo. And Naomi says Victoria's refrigerator even has a few pictures and maybe a clipping or a takeout menu on the front of it. Yeah, I noticed that too. I took it as, oh, that's Johnny and Katie's school sport athletic like calendar, because it was like, had little highlights on it. In my mind, that was Victoria's kids' activity calendar where she had highlighted on her children's, times where she's got to be at the soccer game or whatever. Okay, well, so I feel affirmed about the refrigerator. I feel affirmed that other people have noticed Victoria's tack house change, but no one has come that I've seen and validated the fact that all of that Aristotle Dumas train decor stuff is backwards. It's hung backwards. Every single AD in that train car is facing backwards on the doors, on the valances above the window. Can somebody please validate for me this week why that is, that I'm not, first of all, that I'm not crazy, and can we get some theories on why all of a sudden when the train was fine in Nice, but sorry, that's what it is. It's because it's not the France train. This is not his European train. We are on the American train, and for some reason, the American train has all of the monograms flicked backwards. Why? It's like I can't unsee it. Every scene that's in the train car, I'm like, has no one turned around and noticed that they're all transposed? They're all mirrored? No one, not one camera person, nothing? No one has noticed it's all backwards? Except me? It just can't be. Okay. I need to bring myself back down to earth, get myself all riled up over Aristotle Dumas still. So on that note, I'm going to call it a day. You guys should go to yrchat.com to check out all the good stuff there. I mean, the photos, the quote, the poll, the chat, and the couples mix up for the week. So if you want to have your chance to just take a look at the cast list and bing, bang, boom, pair up whoever you want to pair up, go to yrchat.com. And I will be back next week to read those comments and what everybody picked. I'm hoping there's going to be some juicy mix-ups. And if there's anybody I didn't list there, you can go ahead and mix them up. I know some of you guys are probably going to pick people to bring back too. Try to work with the main cast list if you can. Try to pretend that this is your cast. This is who you have to work with. How would you pair the couples? That's the challenge. Okay. I better get going. But I love you guys, and I will see you next week. I hope you have a really good one. Bye.